Welcome back to Gold Seek TV. I'm here with one of the highest grading silver projects in the industry. Ian Harris, thank you for joining us here on what's starting to get quite exciting in this metal sector. We're seeing gold at record highs, silver starting to show some signs of life, and we have a big year ahead for the Santa Ana project. So I know you had some big news out last week, a couple big objectives coming up for the company this year. So it'd be great to get an overview what they are and some insights, and also to the silver sector, because I also read through your big silver review some months ago, which had some really good insights into the fundamentals of the silver market, which are quite exciting. So maybe first we'll start off with the project, and you can give us an overview on what the company's looking forward to in the coming year.
Yeah, thanks, Peter. It's a pleasure to be here, and obviously, yeah, very excited about where we are because at the end of last year was actually we had to take some tough decisions, but we knew it would pay out, and now it's the time to start with the dividends and hopefully market cooperates and we can hit a 1-2 punch. But Outcrop Silver, its flagship asset is the Santa Ana project in Colombia. It's a colonial district and famous and produced a lot of that silver that was shipped out to Spain all the time. But it's one of the very few remaining primary silver districts in the world. And the Santa Ana project is not only one of the highest grades on a silver equivalent basis, but one of the highest grade pure silver plays. It's over the indicated grades are over 400 grams per ton. We were talking briefly, that is one of the rocks from Santa Ana. That whole rock probably runs over 5% silver. And it's true silver, it's primary silver, which means about three-quarters of the value of the revenue of the deposit is silver. So, on a backdrop of silver prices, really getting compressed, and we really all think it's one of these days, hopefully soon, it could be breaking out. Outcrop Silver is one of the highest leveraged projects in the world to silver price because so much of its value is actually silver. So that's
Is
the
is that the
elevator
geologic?
pitch.
Okay, is that the geological percentage, or is that based on the ratio, gold silver ratio?
It's based on the areas that we have drilled, and obviously the metal count, right? So there is a little bit of lead and silver, but we don't even worry about it because it's less than 1% of the value. So it's about three-quarters of the value is silver, and about one-quarter of the value is gold. So on a ratio basis, right, I can do the math real quick in my head, but a doré bar will be 99% silver and just a touch of gold. So it's really a silver deposit. You can see it
Okay,
in the rock.
that's quite a sample you have there. So you're hitting some very high grades. You've defined your initial resource last year as kind of a proof of concept of a way of this project's potential. And this year, you're looking to really grow from what the objectives are to really expand on what you already were able to show the market last year. So could you tell us what the objectives are? How are you going to grow this resource this year?
Yeah, I'm going to take advantage of Zoom and just pull up. Hope you can now see this.
Mhm.
But this was the graphic that was included within our news release of our objectives, and we really took the time off. We took a tough decision at the end of last year. We weren't drilling on the targets we really wanted to. The drilling was slow. We weren't hitting it with the accuracy we wanted to see, and we said we can't keep doing this. And we pulled the Band-Aid off and decided to make a switch back to our old contractor. That contractor is now mobilizing, and we probably will start be drilling within a week or 2 weeks. So we're very excited. But we took that time to be able to get to the areas we really want to be drilling. So if you look at this map, and you can see it on the map, all these red veins are what actually contributed to the overall initial resource. But this is just a very small of this entire corridor, which is over 18 kilometers long. So what we really wanted to do is I like being visual. I like it's an easy story to tell, and that we can demonstrate a clear pathway of how we're going to be getting over how we can get over 100 million ounces. We're about 37 million ounces today, but how is this going to grow? And so we said, let's take some big steps. Let's prove out this corridor. Um, so we have a bunch, all these are other orange lines or targets that are drill ready. So we produced even last year an additional 11 targets, and we're always producing more targets. But for us to be drill ready means that we've mapped it and we've either channel sampled it or we've done trenching into it that shows economic silver grades in it, and now it's ready. It's ready to be drilled. And so the first area we want to jump down to, we're actually going to be starting off on some areas that we know where we can increase the existing resource, but that's really to get the logistics into place and really go after our first main target, which is the Aguilar target. And why the Aguilar target? First of all, it's about halfway down within the corridor, but it's about a 1.8 kilometers in strike. We have all the ingredients. It's mapped. We're showing grades. Some of the grades are up to 5 kilograms per ton of silver. That's 5,000 grams per ton silver grades, and we want to test it through that entire strike. So it's really not going to convert it immediately to resource, but it can prove out that this is going to be converted into future resource. And then at the same time, while we're working on this area, we want to test this bottom southern post part of the corridor. The blue are our titles. The green are our applications. It means we have that land locked, and we're just going through the process of converting them to title. But at Los Mangos in the south, which we would like to get to the end of the year, before the end of the year, showed some of the highest grades that we've seen. This is actually, there's an old Frias mine, which is a historical Spanish time mine. But this Mangos is showing up to 9 kilograms per ton showings at surface. But the real idea here is by the end of the season is be able to prove out that this entire corridor is going to be increasing and be able to see it very clearly that this resource will be growing greatly. Because as you said, it was really a proof of concept, but sometimes market goes, oh, that's all they got? Oh man, maybe it will grow another 10. But this really is something that can double and triple in size. And we want to be able to show how we have that pathway. And that, I think, is one of the easiest ways to create value for our shareholders, which is one of the key strategies. If not, it's the key strategy for the project, for the company this year. Through drilling, demonstrate that pathway, how we can significantly increase this resource and one of the highest grade resources in the world, which is very important, right? That grade is the potential to become a future mine in so many ways. So we're very excited what we want to do this year through drilling.
Drilling in. So you were showing there those veins. There are quite a few. There's looks like was there 20 some veins in total. So you have a
Yeah,
lot
those
of
are our
mapped.
drill ready targets, and we're obviously converting more and more of our targets to drill. So I see it as you find it, you prove it up, you get it to its drill ready. Next is it's really a discovery on a new vein when you drill it and you prove it through drilling, and then it becomes ready to be converted into resource. And those kind of are the individual steps that we're looking for. But the big one is to, instead of taking small incremental steps out on the resource, we want to be able to show there's a real pathway here to increase the overall ounces.
So you can go out, really build up the ounces more through the inferred category. And as you start to define it, then you can go spend more money, come in and tighten that up in the future. But this way, this would show the market that this is a quite large project, silver project.
That is
What
correct. We are taking a big bite this time because we want to demonstrate, oh, you can visualize and see how we're going to be increasing this resource. And then we can work on the inferred. The majority of the original resource was on an indicated basis because it was so important to demonstrate that this grade holds together, because there were some skeptics out there. But now we've proven it out. We've got the statistical data on these ore shoots. And now next step would be drill it to infer. Next step, obviously converting it into a higher category. But the big one for us is to demonstrate how this resource is going to grow dramatically.
And so just to go back to those who were critical of it, so the question back then was, is this vein really continuous? Is it holding together or is it just breaking up in pieces? Was that the question back? back then?
No, sometimes when you get a high grade hit, it can, if you have really far drill spacing, that grade gets spread across
Oh,
a
okay.
large area. So you want to tighten it up to be able to show statistically the grade holds together. It holds
Okay.
together along strike and it holds together on depth. Now, these are veins and these are ore chutes. They are structurally controlled ore chutes. But we have one of the best guys on this is Guillermo, who's our VPX, understands how these things work in 3 dimensions, but be able to demonstrate that it's not just one little. We put some spectacular holes out so people, well, is it just you hit a lucky hot spot or is it really hold together? So that was really
Mm.
the reason for having such a tight drill spacing on the original resource.
Okay, so you're not just drilling into that 5% rock. It's not just an anomaly.
We're drilling into that 5% rock over and over again
Over
from
and over.
different in
Okay.
different spots, I guess is the best way of saying it, right?
The season you mentioned, so that you're gonna go back out there drilling here very quickly. I guess that's we're heading close to March. What does the season look like, or what does the drill time for the campaign look like?
Sure. So we'll be starting drilling in a little over a week now. And that's the current plan. Our plan is to do almost 900 meters per month with one of those drills. The other one sitting on top, but sitting behind me. It's a man portable rig. Lots of moves because obviously we want to really making some big displacements. Maybe we won't get 900 in the first month, but the average drill holes are about 250 meters. Again, we want to keep it shallow. We're not going to be chasing ounces at depth. It just in this market, it doesn't make any sense, the conversion rate. So we really want to be smart on how we create value for our shareholders. But that means we're going to be getting a couple holes, 3 holes per month done, and really quick turnaround on drill results. We basically we can if we get it to the lab, we can get sometimes the results back in a couple of days. So we expect a very healthy news flow to be coming out, right in the April time period is realistic, but May time period it depends how we organize what we want to put out in information, but then it will be continuously putting out a nice healthy news flow. Once our goal here is once this drill starts, it doesn't stop. It just continues. We got plenty of things that we have to do and plenty of targets to test. And also we have the availability of market shifts and goes positive that we can add additional rigs. We have enough work to do, but right now we think this is the best approach. Take a smart approach, the highest security or the lowest risk approach to create value for our shareholders.
Hmm.
But it's not the only thing we're doing this year because I would like to at least be able to hit on. We're also doing additional metallurgical test work. We have 93% recovery from flotation alone. We're doing some combined tests with both flotation and gravity combined, which we think can make even further improvements. Because it's another thing I hit on. Not only is it very high grade, but we have an extremely high recovery, and we're producing a precious metal concentrate. And I've been saying it for a while. And those who saw me in PDAC, I had the proof. We actually took that metallurgical produced concentrate and converted it directly, smelted it into silver. So it's a real option to be able to convert it directly to silver, where you get a very high payable. So you're very high grade, very high recovery, and very high payable. Because recovery can be an issue for silver, and so is payable. Right? If you get it into a zinc concentrate or a lead concentrate, you don't always get paid very much for your silver, and you lose that value along the stream. So, Santa is a very special project because it has that trifecta of high grade, high recovery, and potentially very high payable.
So, and this is starting off right from the near surface, right? These ore shoots, these veins, you're not having, although you're not going further below 250 meters, it's starting near surface and continuing down, and you're not actually hitting the endpoints of this mineralization. So the
That
potential.
is correct. That is correct. Although we do see a slight conversion of it adding a little bit more on the gold side as we get deeper sometimes, not always. So there's some depth control, but all of the current resources are all open at depth. But the holes get deep and you're adding less ounces per meter, and we want to add as many ounces per meter to be able to create value for our shareholders at this point.
Well, in this market, still there's hopes of this, metal price, and gold's starting to make a move, silver's starting to show some life. but it's good to still be conservative until I guess we get confirmation. But say we do see a silver price that's breaking out past 30, it's heading to 40, $50 an ounce, and all of a sudden the interest really grows and money's just flying to sector, then how does the game change a plan change? Can you probably get more aggressive, even more aggressive, to get more drill rigs going, maybe consider some other you know ways to grow this? Because this asset seems to have a project a lot of potential still, and just it's a question of, I guess, how many drills you can put on it and define that at this point.
Well, if I can directly produce silver directly from a float concentrate, maybe we'll be making Santa Ana silver coins, right?
Okay.
That's what we need to do. But in all seriousness, we are also following a path to be able to de-risk the project and towards getting into production, even if it's at a smaller scale. So
Okay.
the goal here is obviously the number one strategy is through exploration to demonstrate how you can get over 100 million ounces or get over that 100 million ounces. Once we have that number, right, then it's worth doing a true project development where you're looking at a design of a larger size project, but we also have the ability to start at a smaller scale. Because I say I don't hate repeating it over and over like a dead horse, but high grade, high recovery, high payable means that you're very much delinked from scale. Like you can make a profitable project at a very small scale. And so we'll be relooking at, and we're following up and we're continuing to chip away on that, also the de-risking of the project in that direction. So we have the ability. I love working with this team because they have that type of shared vision where we can go on multiple strategies at the same time and adapt very, very quickly to market conditions. And like I said, with our such a high component of the true value, not just in a resource, but even in what at the payable. Most people don't look at the payable, right? I giggle sometimes when I see gold equivalent or silver equivalent calculations based on zinc contain zinc because I know the smelter doesn't pay them for even their zinc. So it's really, what do you get the value at the end of that stream? What does the company actually make when it becomes a mine? And Santa Ana has all those things going for it. And so I think it would shine very brightly in a changed silver market. And the other one is there's very few projects like I think everybody in the silver space that have a true silver project that's a true silver it's a very small group, which also lends to the fact that this tightness that could really create. There's not some real solutions. It's not like gold mines aren't already producing their silver. It's not like, oh, let's start producing our silver because silver price went up, right? They're already
Yeah.
doing it. So to really get new production into to feed that demand, there's not a lot of easy solutions. And so it should play out very interestingly. I think the other thing I pointed out in the letter is that, for the first time, it happened secretly over the last few years, the industrial use of silver finally passed 50%. It's about 60% right now. So, and that's only good. It's because these incremental jumps, because the requirements in an electric vehicle or a requirement in a solar panel. So silver is in every single one of the parts of the energy transition. That starts growing, then you start seeing a geometric growth, right? It going 2 to 4, 4 to 8, 8 to 16. And we're getting into that part of the curve where that demand is going to be tremendous. And it's really going to put a strain on a market that's been undersupplied for 3 years. The deficit between supply and demand of silver is equivalent to 60% of the world's production from mines in silver. Sorry, 9 months. It's incredible. Like I've
That's
never
huge.
seen numbers that big. So when it happens, it's going to be really an extreme event.
And there hasn't been a huge amount of investments into exploration and development to silver projects for quite a long time. And speaking with some other people in the industry, you really get a sense that even if silver were to jump or gold were to really take off, the technical know-how, the resources are not there to ramp up. This is not something that you can do overnight. It takes many, many years. The younger generations are not very interested in mining. You're not seeing many heading into those programs. So I can't imagine, a real structural supply deficit. How does that get resolved? And then if you have the monetary situation come into play where silver gets a demand from the monetary side, that seems like a real potential for a squeeze of existing inventories. And I
I
watching
think they're
gold
being
take off
squeezed
right
already.
now. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm waiting for the article to come out that silver coins can't be produced because they can't get the physical silver. I'm waiting for those days. But the bigger one for me is the industrial demand, right?
Mhm.
Because it doesn't matter if silver is $200 an ounce. It's not going to stop somebody from producing a solar panel because the silver value within that panel is not that big of a deal, right?
Mhm.
If you're talking about electric motors and copper price goes way too high, then people are going to start looking for alternatives because it's 70% of the input value into that piece. But in silver, it's sprinkled through everything. So it's
Mhm.
very insensitive to price on buying decisions, right? The other is there's no replacement. It's the most when you need something that's non-corrosive and the number one metal for conducting efficiently electricity, silver is the only one, right? So it's one of those things. The demand is not going to go away, right? It's just going to keep pumping away, which is going to get very interesting. So there's a lot more elasticity, right, in the price. Another great example is zinc, right? Zinc price goes through the roof, and instead of doing galvanized steel, guess what people do? They do aluminum, right? There's
Mhm.
there's something you can transition to. There's alternatives. But nobody's going to try and engineer away the silver requirement because it's just not that big of a deal. So it's going to be play out really interesting what could really happen to silver price in a supply demand true crunch.
Very interesting insights, Ian. The green precious metal really looking fundamentally very strong here. It's just like you said, every year just keeps eating away at the existing inventories. So it's
And
interesting
demand keeps
situation.
creeping up, and it's an incremental, don't forget, it's a geometric growth. It's not a linear growth, right? So it's going to, and then you also look what's happening in Mexico. If you look at interest rates, you look at industrial, you could have like a really a perfect storm for those who want silver price to go up because there's the majority of the world does not want silver price to go up, just us, right? Just investors and just people that truly believe in it. So that's one of the reasons why the price gets held down for as long as possible.
Mhm.
It could play out very interestingly, right? You don't need too many of those things to start clicking
Mhm.
for things to go really very interesting.
Excellent. Excellent insights, Ian. I really appreciate the overview. Looks like Santa Ana's on a really exciting path here with the drilling kicking on and a real big resource expansion here with that 100 million plus ounce silver target, really high grade. You've got all the components there for a really nice project. So we'll see how this continues to come together. We'll follow up with an update in the near future. Thank you for your time.
Thanks, Peter. Always a pleasure.
Likewise.